Chapter 952. After he was done speaking, he said, "By the way, I haven't asked you. Aren't you supposed to be in Manchester? How did you come to Orris Hill so quickly?" Matt Rich smiled before he said, "It is really very coincidental that my company has arranged for me to come over to Orris Hill for a business trip. I only arrived here earlier in the afternoon today. As soon as I got off the bus, I saw all of you chatting in the group chat. That's why I decided to come here as soon as possible." Alex asked curiously, "Didn't you start your own business? Why are you working for others again?" Matt Rich smiled bitterly before he said, "Business is bad. How could anyone's business be doing well now? The economic situation in the past 2 years has not been easy, and it is not easy to run a business at all." After he was done speaking, Matt Rich looked at Emma before he smiled and said, "Alex, is this my younger sister-in-law?" Alex nodded before he said, "Yes. This is my wife, Emma." After he was done speaking, he introduced Matt Rich to Emma. "Emma, this is Matt Rich, my best friend in the orphanage." Matt Rich smiled again before he said, "Alex, you are truly very blessed. Sister-in-law is so beautiful." Emma smiled before she said, "Thank you." Matt Rich nodded before he pretended to complain to Alex, "Alex, you are such a bad person. You did not take the initiative to contact any of us for so many years. After Mrs. Brown suffered from uremia, I heard her saying that you would often visit her at the hospital. But it seems as though you were always intentionally avoiding all of our brothers and sisters. Why would you do that?" Alex chuckled before he replied seriously, "I had not been doing very well in the past few years, and I did not want anyone to see me when I was so destitute." Alex also had his own self-esteem. Ever since he married Emma, he had often been ridiculed by the people around him. They would say that he was a piece of trash, a pathetic jerk, and a useless live-in son-in-law. Although he generally did not mind what other people thought of him, he did not want his childhood friends who had grown up together with him to know of his dilemma. Matt Rich replied seriously, "My dear brother, the both of us have lived together in a shack at the construction site for a long time. We could even break a steamed bun into half to share it between us. Why would you still be embarrassed in front of me? Besides that, brother, I have not been living a very good life for the past few years, but just look at me. Aren't I still living happily every day?" Alex nodded slightly. At this time, Linda also looked at Matt Rich with a smile on her face. After that, she said, "Brother Matt Rich, why aren't you saying hello to me?" When Matt Rich saw Linda, he stared at her for a long time. After that, he had a surprised look on his face as he said, Are you Linda?" Just like Alex, Matt Rich had never returned to the orphanage after he left at the age of 18. At that time, Linda was just a 13 or 14-year-old teenage girl. However, Linda had already bloomed into a young and beautiful woman. There was obviously a very big change in her. Linda smiled before she said, "Yes, it's me. Why are you so surprised?" Matt Rich laughed as he said, "A young woman is really very different from the little girl that she used to be. In the past, you were so pale, thin, and short. You used to look like a tomboy. I really did not expect you to turn out to be such a beautiful young woman now." Linda replied shyly, "Brother Matt Rich, stop praising me. How could I possibly be considered a pretty girl when my sister-in-law is here?" After she spoke, Linda could not stop herself from looking at Emma. She had a very envious expression on her face. Matt Rich smiled as he said, "Don't belittle yourself. You are also a very beautiful young woman." Linda felt very embarrassed and did not know what else to say. At this time she suddenly received a phone call. She answered the call and suddenly had a very anxious expression on her face after listening to the call. After that, she told everyone, "The owner of the restaurant just called me to tell me that the power in the restaurant tripped because of the aging wiring. It cannot be repaired today and they can only open and resume business tomorrow." "Ah," Matt Rich blurted out, "then, we will have to look for another place to have dinner." Linda said anxiously, "It's already dinner time now. I am afraid that it will be difficult for us to book a room anywhere at such short notice." When Alex heard this, he was about to call Don Steven to ask him if there were any available rooms left at Black Pepper. At this time, a black Audi suddenly stopped beside the group of people.